side film.
Still haven't played the episode on season 1. Imagine starting season 2.
Go to the
Season 2,
No, don't go to season 1. Season 1's better.
2, you'll get the more jokes going on, but season 1 will be content.
Season 1, just start at the Briarwood arc.
Speed. The only way to get through all of that.
And if you listen to the podcast, you don't get the facial expression.
I am listening to the podcast. It's still like,
Go to the
first
Briarwood
episodes are 4 hours.
Yeah. That's why whenever I go to the gym, I like an hour and a half. I tried a double speed. I didn't think about that. I was like, what is on this shirt? So you said I realized the Briarwood?
Yeah, the Briarwood arc is like
So get out of what's popular.
It's been the active services permit.
Get out of
Hammer. There's a lot of jokes that happen later, but the Briarwood's on.
You gotta wait. You gotta start when they kick out Tiberius.
He's so good for her.
Once he's out of the show, they really like go get into their characters.
It's Briarwood like a second, like a separate campaign.
No, so it's all one campaign, but it's a homebrew. It's a homebrew that
Just like we did here,
he's
Like the body.
he's doing again. That's for his family, they're nobles. So it's the same as like when we went off and we did like my. I think it's just much more grandiose. Because that version is crazy.
that's like
They just go through and then it goes through there. Goes to the dragon arm.
come out of drag, come out of conclave.
Actually, sound like okay. I don't think too.
And it's all.
It started how many episodes? Briarwood started.
I don't know. You could probably Google it. Maybe
It's
40.
like 30 or 40. Yeah.
It's pretty early on, considering there was 160 episodes.
I was still thinking might as well.
Yeah, it jumps off the edge.
Jumps off the edge and drew and she shakes. And she's like, what do I see shaking? He's like, well, you're falling towards the like you jumped off this cliff. So he starts rolling for damage. And so she's like, I turned into a goldfish because I'm gonna land in water. She got rocks. So the goldfish was one and she took like 300 points of damage. She just said, man.
Also, the Briarwood
Because
has the Sun Tree. Right? Was that the Briarwood art? The Sun Tree?
Yeah, the Sun Tree.
The Sun Tree. It's literally a character. It's the weird voices, and it's a tree that's like a stoner. Hey man, with some kiki. It's so fun.
But enough about the show that everybody else is watching instead of our program. We just gotta change our intro.
Wait, that's Game of Thrones.
Yep. Not if it's
Gonna
with
get
kazoos.
sued now. Gonna get sued now.
So who will die first tonight then?
Ooh, it's one of those episodes.
Someone that can come back to life instantly.
Alright, falls off a dragon.
You know what? I just had a realization.
Yeah, slow fall though.
I have a magic dagger. I have a ring that lets me go invisible, and I'm hunting dragons.
There you go.
I am Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah. Now we just need to make you a halfling. I'm telling you, every time you put it on,
That's what I'm worried about. Next time I come back as a halfling.
I've got some good races on that list, actually.
It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna chop off my finger before I die.
Like one hit point, and you're like, I take my turn to attack myself.
Seriously, I don't want to. I am.
I don't know.
2 damage.
You
At 0.
Molly Mock.
Yeah, when he used his blood, whatever.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So the last episode, our intrepid heroes, they spend most of the time actually picking random magic items. I would say would be the bulk of the story.
I am
Uh-huh.
posturing with the council.
Yes, there was posturing. So they got back from Meyerwood.
Wind.
Meyerwind. Pyrewood. Yeah. They got back from Meyerwind, the gnomish city in secret, and spoke with the professor, a gnomish tinkerer, and he basically gave them a few magic items. Basically, the Tinkerers Guild saying, we want to help, this is how we can help by giving you random items that we don't know much about, but we can help you find out about. During this, Ari received a magical ring of invisibility, which seemed great until she realized it was cursed, and if she ever dropped 0 hit points, she would be immediately reincarnated in a potentially new form. Akio received a rope that has many different uses to it. It's kind of a magical elven rope. You remember do you remember your past phrase for it? Yeah, perfect. Lunira received some bracers of archery, I believe. Isn't that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think those are attunement required. So I
thought they were.
Don't think so.
Made you proficient in a bow.
Yeah, like
I
ranged
think I
weapon.
might.
What else does it do?
It's like a +1 or something. Yeah.
I have a short bow +2. We're putting together a nice bow kit for somebody. I don't know who.
While wearing these
If only we had some sort of ranger.
While wearing these bracers,
That
you
would
have
be nice.
proficiency with the longbow and short bow, and you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls on ranged attacks made with such weapons.
So it does require attunement.
Oh, it does. I was gonna say I'd take them for the off chance that I use my short bow, but not if they require it too much.
Dodger, do you want bracers of archery? Attunement book.
It'd be cool if you could
Ron
purchase attunement slots.
received something.
I knew if I made
Um,
a face, you'd forget.
What did you get?
You got the wooden spoon.
Yeah,
No,
the wooden
well,
spoon.
so the wooden spoon, yeah, they all got sort of the
The
minor
wooden spoon
magical
that would
items.
let me eat and know if it was, or put food in it, and it would tell me if it was bad or not.
Those bracers
And then the other one was
I would do more damage.
circlet of
Yeah.
blasting.
Circle. Oh yeah, that's
Any
right.
other weapon that I
Circlet
have.
of blasting, which allows him to cast scorching
Maybe I
ray
should
from
start
his
shooting my
hand.
bow.
And Thornot received a javelin of lightning.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Well,
Which did you have that on your character sheet then?
I'm already just. I don't know. I don't
Yeah, I
want
did.
to
Perfect.
go for like
Nice.
another ranged weapon.
Some very powerful
I'd be
magic
willing to
items.
give it
Meanwhile,
that to you or
you
to
received a
Kat.
few items as
Never
well.
mind.
You received a
People
new pair of
like, what is
boots
this ball of
made from
stuff?
owl bear skin / hide / feathers.
Wow.
And
Birds have skin.
yeah. And then you also received a new companion, a small boulette made of
Yeah,
like clockwork
clockworks.
parts.
Yep.
Good salsa, huh?
After this, the party gathered and were met by Leosin of the Harpers, and he took them to the Second Council of Waterdeep, where they were privy to the ongoings for this council that are basically deciding if they will support a huge assault on the Cult of the Dragon. The heroes were able to recount a few of their tales and may have impressed some of the council members, may have disappointed some of the others, not really sure, you know. You guys think they're kind of jerks. You also met with a representative from one of the 9 hells, specifically the 5th level of hell.
Oh yeah, the skeleton weird dude.
Yeah, and he basically, does anybody remember his name?
I don't know, but he's on the list.
Preston does.
List.
I have it in here.
His name was
Oh, wait.
Shaken Shambling Man.
Demonetized.
Demonetized. Do you remember the name? He was kind of your commander.
I'm sorry, I don't.
His name is Lord Volmir.
Voldemort?
Volmir.
Voldemort.
Volmir.
Dumbledore.
Write it down.
Dumbledore? Volmir.
Voldemir.
Volmir. Volmer.
You got paper towels
I will never remember
Right.
Lady Laura Silverhand.
And he basically said that Lunera was to take on any mission that the council gave to Thay.
How do you spell that?
But then nobody gave us one
No,
yet.
they.
Thay? Thay. Yep.
Okay.
It made me infinitely happy when you guys kept trying to
Like, and he wants to go to
preempt me.
Thay.
And I was like, no. Just goes to show you that I don't just immediately give you story points.
Right after he's
They're
done
thought,
saying,
they're thought out.
okay, now we're gonna go to Thay.
Now we take a detour to Thay. During this council meeting, they also met with a new figure who went by the name Elia. And she said that she was a representative from the Council of Metallic Dragons, which everybody knows the metallic dragons are the good dragons because their scales are shiny. And she basically said that the Council of Dragons was meeting to see if they should provide aid to the humanoid races, and she came to gather representatives from the council in order to convince these dragons that, you know, give you guys a hand in the process, basically. And the council kind of talked among themselves a little bit, but ultimately they decided that because you represented the most number of factions among a group of people that can work together, and because you are more or less a neutral party, you're not working for any one of these organizations, you are the best choice to go to this council. Me as the GM probably doesn't agree. You guys tend to not be the best choice in most situations. No, I'm just kidding.
King says
because
that
we're
everything's under
expendable.
control, but we're suspicious of it.
Yes, and that was the other thing was everybody was talking about their recent raids on dragon attacks, but King Malandrak of the Wood Elves,
Well,
I think
said
it's
he didn't.
the Misty Forest specifically.
King of Misty. I have Midi Forest.
Midi Forest.
In the Midi Forest. The hood. Where Robin lives.
Anyway, he
was
said
not
that
in
their attacks had stopped and that there weren't any issues. However, the representative from the
Terrible. Just
Emerald Enclave came up to you, Dylan Winterhound,
Yeah.
and he said that he believed that King Melandrak was not necessarily lying for the sake of evil, deceiving because he was proud. Mm-hmm.
As wood elves are.
Hey. Not all of us.
I say that being a half elf.
Yeah. After that, the party had a nice night's rest, and in the morning they went out to the east gate, and there they saw Elia transform into her true form of an ancient silver dragon.
Yeah.
And they all hopped on her back and rode off towards the council. And that is where we find our party on their way to the Nether Mountains. Even by Dragonback, it is a half a day's fly. So you have 6 hours to kind of relax and do what you need to prepare.
I see if
Put that on mute. Because every time a ding goes off, whoever's did that,
was that mine?
they'll think it's my camera and someone's at the door.
Yeah.
That's why they bark.
Can I ask Tavish if he can work on my dagger and fashion it into a wrist, like a fist weapon?
That's right. You were going to be working on making his dagger into a wrist blade specifically. Were you looking to have it converted into a pair of wrist blades?
Ideally.
That's going to take longer.
Okay.
Well, and we also had to, since it was magical, right? We would have to have someone that can split the enchantment between two different items.
Technically, working together with Akio, you two would probably be able to work something out where you could either split this single dragon tooth dagger in half or copy it in some capacity.
Cool.
Yeah. And work on making those a sort of wrist blade usable for our
So I could put the one weapon into a wrist blade easy. But being able to split it, I'm gonna need to be not on a dragon, obviously, and then in a blacksmith's forge.
So what I'll need then is, because this is a rare magic item, it's going to be a hefty investment cost, not money wise. Although actually there will be an investment cost in that as well, but it's going to be roll wise. Basically, you're pouring points into it. So why don't you go ahead and write down basically what I like to do here is I like to call them researches, and you're at currently 0 out of 200 on both splitting the dagger and creating the wrist blade. And you'll be rolling Arcana for splitting the dagger.
Okay.
And you'll be rolling. What do we use usually for your
Sleight of hand?
sleight of hand? Okay. Yeah, you'll be rolling that for your tinkering to turn it into a fully functional wrist blade. And you guys can go ahead and get your first roll in now.
But before we roll, in the meantime, I'm assuming, does that mean I can't use the dagger until it's complete? Because if so, I might want to wait until we have some more extended downtime.
I would say that most of the work that Tavish needs to do is making the contraption.
Okay.
He needs to make the initial measurements for it, and Akio probably needs to do some research and off time. But you should still be able to use the dagger as a regular dagger for now.
Cool.
So go ahead and make your rolls. Add your bonuses.
Nat 20, so 28.
So add 38 to your making of the wrist blades portion.
Out of 200.
Out of 200. Crits are going to be plus 10. I like that because you had a really good inspiration moment there.
27.
And then 27 out of 200 for the enchantment.
Which is splitting it.
Yep.
And how many times a day can we roll? Just once? So.
Basically once a day. It's like your magic item creation slot for the day. So
cool.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that anybody would like to do? In Dragonflight?
You could read your forbidden book.
I think we gave those all back to her, actually.
I think you kept one.
Oh, we sleight of handed one of them. That's
Yeah,
right.
you sleight of handed at least one.
Some about, like, under no circumstances read this book.
Yeah, I remember
That's the
looking at that. Should I read it?
Maybe not while we're on the back of a dragon. It's like lawful good.
This happens to be the book that makes dragons die instantly.
Dragonomicon.
Yeah, because I would definitely give you that book. Do you know what campaign we're in?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a good thing we found that
I'm
book.
gonna open the cover to the blank page, and then slowly peel back that one page to see if there's a copyrighted title page, and then I'll slowly peel back that page and see what the first page says.
So about the second page, the shrieking starts. From Akio, actually.
Oh, from me?
Yeah, it's just horrifying to behold. It's a table of contents, but it's all outdoor.
Innumerable eyes.
It's like
So I turn that page.
It's not eyeballs,
like
it's letter
Kung Fu
eyes.
Panda, where it's like,
Yeah.
it's blank.
It's blank. Yeah. You write it and it writes back saying it's Tom Riddle. So after half a day's journey, you all suddenly kind of dip a little bit, and you all have to grab onto the dragon spines. These shimmering silver spines that make up the ancient silver dragon that you're riding on. And she descends, and you see that you are approaching a large, kind of well-fortified mountain. There's a few different level areas that look like perches, and you can see a few smaller metallic dragons kind of hanging around them. A few watching you on your way in. You see a couple of brass, maybe a bronze hanging out there. And Elia lands on the largest platform of these. And you can actually see an array of kobolds standing there. And these kobolds, much like the dragons that they serve, are golden scaled and they have the different metallic scales. And they're very regal, they're very formal, they stand more upright than any of the other kobolds that you've seen before. None of them appear to be trying to kill you, which is a plus.
I nudge Brom and say, I didn't know they came in that color.
I wasn't aware of myself.
And then Elia extends a wing out and kind of as a ramp, a pseudo ramp sort of thing.
Sorry. I'm just imagining it.
Up.
I'm imagining it folding into stairs, and then we can walk down them.
And then when someone's going too slow, she straightens them again.
Yeah.
And then once the party is all off, and the boulette behind you as well, because it's still following you around faithfully, it shrinks down, and she becomes back into her kind of this human form. And at that point, there is kind of this soft trotting that you hear. And it's a sound at first, and then you kind of look over, and this haze kind of forms into Elisora Barasum, which is the unicorn that you guys have contracted for the month. Or that is guaranteed, or she's promised to follow you for a month. You haven't contracted her for anything.
I'm glad to see you made it here safely.
I am as well. There were some paths that were very treacherous getting up here. So Elias says, welcome to Nether Mountain. This is where the council usually meets. It's sort of a neutral ground for all of the dragons. Not that we have a lot of infighting, but it's sort of a symbolic area. The council will be meeting later tomorrow, and these kobolds, and she gestures to the 5 or so kobolds that remain as all the others kind of scatter and go off to do other things. They appear to be more of just like a welcoming entourage. There's one of each individual color. These will be the vassals, where you can request meetings with the different dragons of the council. Your goal here is basically to see if you can convince the Dragon Council to help humanity. Humanoid vanity.
Non-cult of the dragon manatee.
Yes. Good humanity. Yeah.
Okay.
If you have any questions, please direct them towards them. I have a few other things that I need to do, and I will see you at the council meeting.
Thank you. So are we to request an audience with each of the dragons before the meeting then?
This is out of character, in character, really quick.
In character.
In character.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend it if you want to. Plead your case to them individually before gathering them all together. Sometimes dragons can bluster a bit when they're all in the same room, but alone you may be able to make promises that can sway their hearts.
Thank you. That sounds daunting.
We have no problems at all.
And then she turns, and as she walks away, she does form back into her ancient dragon form. That was sort of just a way for her to talk to you face to face before she moves on. And the kobolds, of course, all bow and move out of the way for her deferentially before they line back up.
Oh, she's pretty cool. Where should we start? How many? So there's 5?
There are 5 kobolds in front of you.
Brass, bronze, silver.
So there's brass, bronze, silver, copper, and gold.
Let's start on the top. Go talk to gold.
There's platinum. I think maybe we should work our way up to gold.
If you would like, says the gold kobold, I can first show you to the rooms that you'll be staying in for the time.
Perfect.
Maybe give you a little bit of a tour so that you can see any of the other
That would be very
areas
helpful.
that might be helpful to you. Have any of you ever dealt with metallic dragons before?
Not until
In a book.
recently.
I don't believe so. No.
Nope.
I've not had the honor.
Alrighty, well, they definitely are a wonderful breed, and he starts like moving along. The other kobolds are just kind of they do this. It's not really flanking you, but it's sort of like surrounding you in a protective kind of like, we're your servants. We're here to scurry off and do whatever you need to. And again, these kobolds are incredibly like proper compared to all the other kobolds that you've seen that are kind of just like running around, crouching down, stealing from one another. These are all very much straight. Narrow.
Not really kobolds.
It might be enchantment.
So they lead you.
They're worms.
Enchantment.
We are worms.
So they lead you inside, and inside the mountain there is this huge kind of there's a lot of like cavernous area, and you get to the kind of the edge of this ledge, and you can look down, and you see this massive room beneath you, and there are 5 different platforms of enormous size. That look probably about big enough for a dragon to sit on, an ancient dragon specifically. There's a few other dragons kind of wandering the halls. There's like a young adult that flies up from one balcony to another to go into a different room, and there's just kobolds everywhere. Some are mining, some are maintaining gems that seem to have been purposefully left or pushed into the walls and everything. And it's just kind of this glittering palace of draconic splendor.
I ask one of the kobolds. I say, do the metallic dragons have the same affinity for acquiring treasure as their chromatic?
Oh
cousins?
yes, absolutely. The metallic dragons all have very great hoards as well. However, they do not prey upon the innocent to receive their treasure. They prefer to have business dealings or to mine it themselves. And by themselves, we mean, of course.
And do they keep them anywhere here on display aside from the splendor that we're seeing?
All the kobolds kind of chuckle a little bit in Draconic, which just sounds like normal chuckling. And the gold one says, "Yeah, no."
They say,
this is a neutral ground. There is a small tribute area here to Bahamut, but other than that, there's no horde in this location.
Tell me more about Bahamut.
Dead.
Bahamut, the great lawful good dragon god.
Yes.
He is the protector. He is our god.
Have you seen him?
I have a 0 religion.
Have you seen him?
I have no
before?
diplomacy.
I have no religion.
What god do you serve?
The god of booze.
Have you ever seen the god of booze before?
Every night. Every
I
night.
think that's more drunken delusion. No, unfortunately, none of us, at least the kobolds, have been blessed to see the great Bahamut.
Do you know of anybody who has? I'm just curious. I want to get a first-hand account.
I mean, there are a few. I believe that Lord Proanther is among the ones who has met with him, at least in voice, if not in person.
Is he the representative of the Gold Dragon flight?
He is indeed. He is the leader of the council, actually. I'm going to find what domain Bahamut specifically.
Cool.
No doubt.
No doubt. Cool.
Sounds like somebody's been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, even though they told me they didn't like it.
It's actually Community. That's
Oh
how
yeah,
we
they do that too.
No, it's not quite as much as that one. But he always says, cool. Also, it's kind of turned into my he says,
I saw him
cool.
You know, God creates the world and then creates Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then underneath he's sitting there like, cool.
I've actually come to appreciate the show. I'll put it that way.
Bahamut is literally a dragon god. Like he is the god of good dragons. As Tiamat is the embodiment of evil dragons. He represents life and prosperity for the good.
I assume he does not, as perhaps his wicked counterpart, have 5 heads of one of these dragons.
No, unfortunately not. He's a single-headed being of immense power.
What color?
Platinum?
Actually, he is a platinum dragon, I believe. I think he is the only platinum dragon. He's also known, for those of you who want a little bit of lore fun, he's also known as the old man with the canaries in some stories. Because he sometimes comes to mortals in the guise of an old man with a bunch of canaries that are basically his shape-shifted
Great
dragon
Odin's
angel
raven.
guardians.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
So, huh?
This is Great Odin's Raven. I did
Great
not know
Odin's
that.
raven.
Great Bahamut's Canary.
And this is the library. There are plenty of books here on dragon lore if you're so inclined to do a little research before you meet with the council. And over here, and he kind of waves his hand to, it looks like an open cave. But as you step through, like, the first of you to step through, the rest of you don't see them in the open cave. It's basically, there's an illusion over it that just shows the cave is empty. And you all step in, and there's actually a very, very well put together, like, sleeping area, dining area. It's all kind of open floor plan, studio apartment style.
Well, this is splendid.
It is very splendid.
I asked one of them, and just for I sometimes like to let my mouth run long, but the people that we were going to be meeting with, these dragons, are they averse to compliments, to lip service, or is that insulting in this culture?
Lip service?
In the sense of
Not in the way you think.
not
That's what it's
just because I'm a bard, gosh dang it.
I mean, usually kiss-ass kobolds don't really go very far, but if it's genuine praise, it's not going to be an issue.
Right. It's just good to know and understand.
Yeah.
I don't want to be insulting to
Of course, and please feel free to use any of our resources, ask questions, go to the library, whatever you guys need to prepare for this. I know we kind of thrust you into this on the spot, but we'd be more than happy to assist you however we can.
What favors do dragons? Financial favors?
Besides the individual promises that dragons would want, from their individual lives, I would say promises of gold is a good stepping stone.
What about chalk? Or dice?
Or other detritus that I'm trying to dispose of.
We have a kobold vendor just outside if you need to get rid of any gray items that you may have acquired in your travels.
It's not blue, dang it. No purple.
Please feel free to use him at your leisure. But there is no...
Use him, huh?
Not like as a vendor. What is with you tonight? He's here to give you lip service. Yeah, that's right.
I'm cursed.
You are not prepared.
We will all be, if you need any of us, and he reaches up and he kind of dings this kind of silver bell that tinkles a little bit. And so immature. And then he goes, just ring the bell and we will be here in a moment.
Thank you.
And then they all scamper off.
As soon as he leaves the room, I ring the bell.
And they come back.
I just was testing to make sure that this was functional. Thank you. You are. Please
Here you
go.
use
And I pull
privileges.
out a gold coin for each of them that came in the room and say, "This is for your expeditious service."
Oh, we appreciate it. And they run off, and you see them heading directly towards the Shrine of Bahamut.
How much gold did I lose?
5.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the library that was just outside of the room.
Okay. So what are you going to do in the library?
Try and read up on each of the individual dragons to see if I can kind of maybe glean their personality type or their temperaments.
Okay, I'll join
What
up.
kind of favors they might want.
So
Just really any information that'd be useful.
the amount of information that you're going to want for 5 different dragons is going to be a lot. That's going to be a lot of information for you to get in a few hours.
Okay.
I'll try.
I'll
and
go
help
for the
with
gold
a
dragon and the copper dragon. In the middle, we can figure out.
What I'll probably
try
say
and
is
help with
I'll need a history check from everybody to do research here. Actually, not a history check. We're just going to do a straight intelligence check.
Oh.
And I want you to tell me which specific dragon that you are looking into.
Nat 20, baby.
If you've got those, I'll go for bronze.
I'll go over gold.
Bronze, gold,
I'll do silver.
silver.
I'm not researching. I don't care about dragon lore stuff. I wanted to go exploring.
Oh,
Exploring, okay.
I'm with Tavish.
Okay.
I don't care.
Alrighty.
Even
What
though
about-
I rolled.
Thornock. But you're
I'm also with Tanner.
dang it.
Okay. So 3 of you head off to go do research. The other 3 of you go exploring. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for while you're exploring?
Not
If we
particular,
succeed,
just-
I
can
want
walk
all the credit
around,
with these
kind of
guys.
getting the lay of the area, I guess.
Okay.
I want the praises and the riches.
So what you...
Try some doors.
Okay.
I'm not gonna like, oh, it's locked. I'm trying to break it open. It's just gonna be like, nope, next one. You know.
So the first thing that you find is there are no doors. This is a lot of caves. Again, you do see like open caves that appear to be empty, and there's a few that you can stick your head through this same kind of illusion, and you see like there is a little rookery here where young dragons are playing a game that may look a little bit like a normal sports kid game, but it involves a boulder and shooting different types of breath weapons at each other. And you find
Typical kid
3
stuff.
dragon shoot the ante.
Sweet.
you also are able to find sort of a bathhouse is more or less what I would call it. It appears to be maybe for the mortals that are here. And there are a few that you like try to put your head in or try to put your hand through, and they just like won't. Like the illusion
Privacy
seems
mode
more
is on.
solid, basically. Yeah. Do not disturb in bright letters, right?
Don't want them walking on some dragons.
So let me go ahead and get
I didn't know silver
wisdom
could
check.
mate with gold.
From the people who are exploring, let's go ahead and get a wisdom check from each of them.
So I guess for the extra dragons, I'll try and pick up whatever slack with my history.
Wow, terrible.
Save your rolls in your head here. Save it on the table. So Preston, Akio, Prestidigit Akio,
Yes.
you are going to receive. You rolled a natural 20, which is amazing. So you are going to receive all of this information on the golden dragon that you can go ahead and share with the group as everybody gets back. Now, what was your roll in exploration?
15.
15? 5. And then Thornock, what'd you get?
A natural 1.
So Thornock and Tavish.
Sorry, 14.
14. Thornock and Tavish get really into the game of
despair.
Dragon Ball, right? Which is what they dub it.
Dragon Ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dub it.
Dragon Ball Z.
And so,
That's
like,
for the adults.
Oh,
Teenagers.
Dragon Ball X.
and you
It's not Z.
get a lot of good information about how to
Ball.
play Dragon Ball and the different tactics used. And
I want by next game. I want all the rules.
all the rules.
Yeah, written down and
Alrighty.
how to play.
Literally, it's dragons shoot fire at each other.
And we'll build an arena.
And there's
we'll
a
play,
rock
We'll play
And
Dragon Ball.
I
Okay.
can cast Dragon Breath on you and you can play.
Yeah.
It's a
I need
live
flight,
pinball
too.
machine.
Yep.
We can do that.
You're basically gonna spend all of your magic to turn him into
Oh
a
my,
dragon.
yeah. Fourth and fifth level spells. Go.
Bring that to me.
Just make sure that's
However, Lunera, you're not really. The game is fine. You kind of get it pretty quickly. You've seen harsher games. They have football in hell. So.
Sometimes you are the ball.
Yep.
Not me personally.
Depends on it.
No.
Everyone's
You've
now.
heard-
Everyone
yep.
gets to.
Everybody
turn.
has to climb inside a spiky cage that is basically a ball, and whenever you're thrown,
They
it,
literally
it
get
stabs
morphed
you.
into the ball with
Yep.
magic.
Or that.
The ball is a bunch of bony feet
so
that
you-
rolls
you
over
actually-
and smashes people.
Sorry, would you mind grabbing Soft Monkey? Because he's gonna start.
That funky monkey.
Thank you. Okay, continue. I apologize.
You wander off and kind of start listening to a bit of gossip. And what you actually find out, so you were going for which dragon again?
Silver.
Silver?
I was gonna go
Bronze.
for bronze and whatever was
Okay,
not
and then
being...
you were gold?
Yeah.
You actually find out that, you find out a bit of information on the copper dragon. Her name is Tazmichaela.
Sounds like a Utah name.
Yep, that's going to go over well in the council meeting.
Depends on how many waters.
Trazmikella?
Taz, T-A-Z.
Taz, sorry.
Trazmichaela. M-I-K-E-L-L-A.
These things. Like, notes
And
and
you learned that
M-I-K-L-I-A?
M-I-K-E-L-L-A. You learn from these kind of kobolds that are talking that she's not that big of a fan of big interaction between humanoids and dragonkin. One of them talks to the other and he's like, yeah,
She's a big
with the amount of times that her hoard has been robbed by thieves, I'm surprised that she even let humans stay in the mountain at all, or humanoids. Besides us, of course, and then they high-five because they're kobolds, and then they wander off. So you get a little bit of information in your travel, or in your exploration about the copper dragon.
Looking for a vendor.
Oh, the blue kobold,
Oh, yes.
and he is blue, but it's like a cobalt blue. He's just outside, and he's like, yeah, I'll buy whatever you want, but I'm not going to pay amazing prices for it. You know,
I don't care. It's worthless.
Okay.
You're not a very good barter.
No.
No.
I have
I have
plenty.
low
I've got
charisma.
plenty of
Preston, what did you get on your roll?
I got a
Currency.
19 roll plus is 21 total.
Okay. And then what did you get on yours?
14.
Okay. So let's see. So, Akio,
Yes.
why don't you go ahead and read what you know about the gold dragon? What you received?
Did you text me?
I sent you a
Oh.
hangout message.
There it is. I was like,
Yeah, tell us what you know.
Make it up. Come on.
Protanther, the male gold dragon. Protanther is the leader of the metallic dragons, as well as the former king of justice, a royal title amongst gold dragons. He often has been said to care little for the humanoid races of the world. While he sees good and bad in them, he believes their capacity for great power, despite their limitations, makes them dangerous. While he can forgive this in some races, he believes that humans, and especially elves, should know better than to tamper with such power and disrupt the delicate balance of the world. Protanther has often forgiven humans for their misgivings, since most of their crimes are at least directed merely at one another. However, he has distrusted elves since they used ancient knowledge to shape the magic of the Dracaraj Mythal, an ancient ritual that gives dragons a crossfade room to go. Drives dragons to a crossfade room to go mad with rage.
Maybe I should avoid that meeting.
You're a wood elf. You're not a high elf.
I know, but it just says elves. It doesn't
But I'm
distinguish.
human, so maybe we send.
No problem.
Oh.
Sure.
I'm small and
Prong, why don't you tell us what you learned about Nimmer?
Nimmer. Okay, I was going to say, how do I say that? Alright, Nimmer, as I found out, was a male bronze dragon. Nimmer is notable as a dragon who very much wishes to protect humanity. Out of all the dragons, he ought to be easy to deal with. But
he's bronze?
Yes, bronze. No one really knows the reason why, so he seems very well-tempered towards us.
Cool. Maybe I should.
Seems pretty chill.
And then I'm sending this one to Olivier email. So it should be there soon. And then you can tell us about the silver dragon, Otari Liakarnos.
Atari.
It's the hardest name. I had to practice it like 50 times.
As Mikella.
Wow. Otari Liakarnos. Female silver dragon. Among the dragons, Otari Liakarnos believes that the humanoids should be protected. She has always been a staunch defender of humanoid races. However, there are stories of her distaste of dwarves. Legend says one of her cousins was killed during one of their ancient dragon moves.
Huh. So your least favorite?
Yes. She was also the one that you guys wrote in on.
Oh, that was Otari Liakarnos.
Elia is her her shortened name for when she's in her human guise.
Okay.
Goys.
As I'm sharing,
and this is several hours later. Everybody's kind of come back. You guys can recount your tale of Dragon Ball and how amazing it is. And
fantastic. I was just gonna say, this is, I guess, maybe out of character here, but Ari is feeling very, like, she has this sort of, I guess I'd say, like, low self-esteem when it comes to, like, the natural world. Like, I'm very easily, like, overawed, and I feel kind of this, like, guilt about, I don't know, I feel like I'm a wood elf, and so I should be, like, this at one with nature kind of creature, but I've lived in the city all my life, and so, like, I feel this great, like, deficiency, essentially, whenever I'm in situations like this, which is why I was so, like, when we saw the golden stag, I was just like, whoa. And I'm kind of having that same sort of flusteredness going on with me right now.
Is it, like, visible, like we can tell, or?
Not really, but, like, if I have to get in front of a dragon and, like, talk, I'll probably just be like, you're so amazing.
You're so vain.
I love you.
Yeah, very prone to, like, worship.
Oh boy.
Okay. Bron, you've got the silver tongue, so it should be good on the...
It's actually flesh, but yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so now the time comes where you guys decide who goes to what meeting, if you all go, if none of you go. It's up to you.
I should not meet the gold dragon. He doesn't like humanoids.
Well, he's humans. You said he was more forgiving towards humans than to elves. I particularly feel that I shouldn't go, but yet I have to see him. He's the leader. Maybe I'll just stand in the back and look.
Yeah.
Ashamed of myself.
How does the devil feel about meeting with the highest of the dragons? Didn't say anything about hating devils. At least that I could read.
They're lawful good, but lawfully they can work together.
So, part of the point in there, and I guess I forgot to write this down, is that part of the reason why he hates, or he has a distaste for humans, is because they reach for power and don't worry about the consequences, right?
Okay.
And tieflings usually spawn from situations like that. Either they're denizens of hell that get dragged back to hell, or they're half demons or half devils, kind of thing. So, yeah, I would say tieflings would probably be in the same category as...
Okay. All right. I can talk to that guy. I'll talk to that guy.
Do it.
Take some alcohol with you.
So are we meeting with each dragon?
I gotta be silly for this one.
You can meet with however many you want individually before the main council meeting.
I say let's go.
Should we split them up, or do we want to go to all of them?
Let's all go to all of them.
Okay.
Or
We can have each other's back.
Those who want to.
Let's do it. Let's ring the little bell. The tinkle bell.
Immediately, 5 kobolds show up as if they were literally waiting a few.
You guys are everyone else. I didn't ring the bell. It was him.
let's go meet the bronze dragon.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
You would like to meet Glorious Nimur.
Nimur, yes.
Right.
That's the one you have notes on, right?
The bronze one bows, and bronze kobold rather bows, and he leads you off down kind of a path. Again, there doesn't seem to be really any rhyme or reason. Doesn't look like higher dragons are higher up or anything like that. It's just a random path that they take you on, and soon enough you come to a large chamber, and he bows and waves you through, or waves into the illusionary door, showing that it's available for you to pass through.
Perfect. And just for my edification before we enter, do we need to be announced, or is he comfortable with us going? I don't want to startle him and end up dead.
He has been expecting you since you announced that you wanted to see him.
Perfect. Thank you. Perfect. All right. Well, everyone, you ready? Let's go in. Everyone who's here?
So you guys...
All right, let's go.
You just get a little.
I stride in. I
gotta be sober for this
some
one.
liquid courage.
Very pomp and circumstance as I stride in. I'm gonna bow very deeply when I see him
Alright, so
until he acknowledges me.
We will all follow.
So you guys enter into the
I'm
chamber.
gonna stay back.
There is a lot of it's probably the most mundane out of the chambers that you've seen so far. There's a few writing desks, that sort of thing. There's a table. Nimur, which is this enormous bronze dragon's, is sitting at the head of this table, or rather, he's kind of sitting around the table a little bit. His tail is curling a bit, and he is currently speaking with somebody else at the table, a young human woman, actually. And he looks over to you, and he sees you guys bowing, and he says, "Friends, come sit down. You must be hungry from your travels."
Oh, thank you, Nimur. It is a great pleasure to be in your presence. Who might this?
This is the current head of the house that I watch over in Waterdeep. This is Lady Dala Silmerhelve.
Oh.
And she stands up and she bows and she says, "It's pleasant to meet you all again."
It's been some time. I did not recognize you.
I say, we searched for you.
Is that the one that you and I?
Yeah, I say we searched for you in the city, but couldn't find you after our encounter that night in the tavern.
Yes, I felt it best to not make myself well known in the city. My relationship with Nimur is it's a loose secret, but it's still as secret as we want to make it.
Fair enough. Your secret is safe with us.
But you are well. You're not in danger or anything.
No, absolutely not.
Right.
I thank you for sending my message to the council and
Absolutely.
and making sure that I'm okay. That I appreciate that. And Nimur nods and he says, "I appreciate it as well."
You're good friends then.
Yes, absolutely. I've been watching over the Silmerhelve family for some 200 years now or more.
What a great honor.
And she nods and she says, "I'm overwhelmed by it sometimes." And he kind of waves his hand and he says, "Sit, I've got a good feast here for you. I'm glad that you decided to come to me first. I'm probably the easiest one to deal with as far as me and my council members go."
As I have heard, you have quite the reputation that precedes you, and it is all good as far as I'm concerned.
In fact, I'll say that I'm the easiest. Enjoy a good lunch, and I am on your side.
Thank you.
I understand that if the cult succeeds in their plans, Waterdeep won't be safe, and then my charges won't be safe. And that's not going to be a good thing for anybody.
Do you have any advice for us as we strive to win the other heads of the various dragonflights to our side, to our cause?
I hope that the Council of Waterdeep has given you permissions to make whatever promises you need to in this regard.
They have.
Wonderful. I will say that if nothing else, treasure does go a long way in helping make concessions.
Splendid.
Does when this council meets, is it like a vote? Like a popular rule? So like if one dragon didn't like us so much, we can still
Majority rules.
Yes, we do a majority rules council vote on the matter.
What would you say would be a,
just in case,
if you don't mind me asking, what would you say would be a sufficient offer to win their favor as far as gold is concerned?
I know that Otari Karnos... Otariliakarnos. I know that she is still distraught over the death of her cousin, and the fact that the dwarves have never made true amends for this. And as far as Proanther goes, he is very distressed about his little quarry with the elves that also he believes should be made recompense for. So something along those lines might be able to lean them in your favor if you wish to speak with them about it. As far as the other two goes, they're more of a mystery. They don't have any big issues, but they may require some concession when it comes to the defeat of the dragon cult.
Fair enough. I would expect nothing less for those who participate and are fully engaged in this endeavor. I see no qualms, depending on their conditions.
Yeah.
Remind me, what was it in particular that the Gold Dragon leader was upset with the elves about?
They used ancient knowledge to shape the magic of the Dracarage mythal, an ancient ritual that drives dragons to go mad with rage.
Shaping the... Say that again. Trying to write it down. Sorry.
So they used ancient knowledge to shape the magic of the Dracarage mythal.
Draco Rage Mythal. I mean, it's you can call it whatever you want. It's basically Draco Rage.
Yeah.
Which literally makes dragons rage.
Yeah. So they go
Dragon madness.
Yeah, it's dragon madness.
Mad
That's
dragon.
no excuse for dragon rudeness, though. As we all know.
Mad dragon.
We don't eat our own kind, that's for sure. There is plenty of cow, though. I heard you mortals liked it.
Yeah. Roasted on the spit.
So you guys actually have a nice lunch. You talk with Nimmer a bit, talk with Silmerhelv about her and her family. She seems pleasant enough. She's a little smirky when she mentions that a couple of people tried to break into her house recently, but her guards were able to dissuade them from entering in, giving you guys a little smile a little bit. And then Nimmer says, I won't keep you from your other appointments. I wish you the best of luck, and I will see you tomorrow at the council meeting.
Thank you.
We are much better for having you on our side. And another deep scraping bow. My nose is pretty much touching the floor.
It's not that hard for you.
I know.
He doesn't. His feet don't like that. That doesn't work the way you think it does.
It's like a Michael Jackson lead.
Yeah.
Ooh, impressive.
I've been practicing.
And you guys exit the chamber, and again, the 5 kobolds are just standing in a line, waiting for you there.
Shall we go to the others that we know a little bit more about first? This over and
No,
then
I say we
then
go the
gold.
ones that we don't know first.
Well,
More exciting.
Save the hardest
More
for last.
exciting.
you heard about the copper. What did you learn?
That she's not a fan of interaction with a large crowd of humans due to thieves stealing some of her treasure. So maybe you shouldn't.
I'm not a thief. I'm a monk. I am a repentant.
He says he's trying to pry one of the gemstones from the wall.
She says.
Not for long. No, I'm just kidding.
The penitent thief.
That's right. I'm 10 years sober. That incident with the tiger's eye does not count.
So maybe only maybe not all of us go in, but maybe a couple of us. And
Fair enough.
it was mainly humans, right? That she wasn't, or was
It was.
humanoid?
It's just she doesn't like prolonged interaction with humanoids. Yeah.
right.
Let's keep it short. Let's keep it brief.
All right, we'll keep it brief.
Go in,
She thinks it's disastrous.
Thornock might
let's
be
just
the
go
best option.
Give her gold. Yeah, let's send Thornock in with gold and just say, we hope that you're on our side and here's a gift, and then leave.
I will mention, because it's never been explicitly stated before, and it is sort of an important topic, the amount of gold that you would be able to give them is probably negligible.
Right.
However, the council has all kind of, one of the first things that they talked about during their first council meeting that we glossed over was the fact that each of the factions receives a equal share of the treasure. Basically, one share split 12 ways of the treasure if they do eventually beat the cult.
Well,
Basically,
We don't get a piece.
yeah, assuming that they participate. I'm sure you'll get your just rewards. Why don't you just
Hey,
relax
I'm
about
gonna
it?
take over
we don't need
before
another
they get
speech.
their
1 out of
hands on it.
12 of whatever's left when we're done.
Yeah.
All right.
Basically, yeah. Anybody who agreed to participate in it can agree
And a
to
bag of
an equal
devour
share of the
can as
treasure.
well.
Yes,
So
we can.
what you might be able
Might
to
not get it
offer
back, but
is
We
one
can
or
figure that
more
out later.
equal shares as well.
Split it 13 ways.
Split
essentially.
13, or if you wanted to offer each of the dragons their own share, you could. The council may not be happy about it, but they understand the need for these dragons, and that kind of
Why don't
goes
we
true
just
with
offer
most of
And it would
Uh,
also kind of stick in their craw, which I think.
Yeah, we should
Ari
offer
would
the
like.
elves portion because he's a jerk, and the dwarves portion because he was also a jerk.
It's not specifically like you're taking over a portion.
I'd like to
The
try and
living
write that
shares
into
here.
the contract.
I say for those where negotiations are
Yeah.
becoming difficult,
Just
we offer
him a share.
an equal share of spoils if we can defeat the cult dragon.
All right, fair enough.
And for the others, if they do get crotchety about others getting more.
Sure,
Address it at that
if,
time.
if the bronze dragon comes back and says, I mean, I like you guys, but how come I didn't get anything? We can...
Negotiations, my dear fellow, negotiations. You gotta sign the
Should
contract.
have asked. Should have asked.
the contract. Okay.
All right, so you arrive at Tasmakela's area.
We all go in? Should we just send Braum?
Send Braum. I
Yeah.
think he's
Somebody's menacing.
Somebody
He's-
hold this, and I take off my dagger,
I'll be your
just in case
I'll be
you
your
know,
humble.
I mean,
impulses.
I can go in for support if you wish.
I would like somebody.
All right, I will.
I'm
I
a
will
very
go in
small
with-
person. That's a very
Okay.
large dragon.
I'll go
Don't
too.
eat the help.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here to help.
Don't.
Don't
So-
eat the help.
So you enter in, both of you enter in, and you're going in as well.
I'm basically groveling. If I know that they're not whatever, I'm very deep low bows.
And this area actually looks more like a standard dragon's cave. There's not a substantial hoard here, but there's enough of a pile of like gems and jewels and magic items that it makes it. I'm endangering the mission. That
ring of invisibility.
Tasmakela the Great copper dragon that you see
I
can kind of lay on it, and she lifts her head up as you goes, not the full party of ambassadors, but
No,
a few.
if you'd like, I can receive the rest. We just did not want to bother you longer than you. You're very busy, I imagine, and we do not want to impose as much as possible.
Of course. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Brom Grisius Curious.
I am Lunera.
And Ariana Wild.
She looks back to Brahm, and she looks at the lute on your back, and she goes, "A bard, huh?
Yes, indeed. I am a man of many talents.
And many lies, I'm sure.
At times, when necessary, yes.
Well, how can I help you today?"
Well, we are coming, as you know. We have been fighting long and hard with this cult of the dragon, who I'm sure you've heard by now that Tiamat is trying to make her way back into this realm, and that we are pursuing actively to stop this. We are imploring of those who are much mightier and stronger fortitude than I, and much the rest of us. You can see I'm very small of stature.
And you see that her attention to you has started, like, drifting,
okay.
and she's just staring at Lunera now. She goes, "Where did you get that armor?"
It was from a white dragon, wasn't it? No, it was from.
It was from the cult of the dragon.
It was
Yeah.
from the cult of the dragon.
Really?
This was
If you
something.
would like,
It
Lodge.
was originally from my horde.
I would be more than happy to return it to you.
Really? That simple?
Indeed, I heard tale that
Ask for something and
You're not here.
Oh yeah, sorry. Metagaming. Sorry.
Outsider.
As for the
I heard tell that you had trouble with thieves in the past, and if this had been stolen from you, I would be more than happy to.
That would be acceptable.
that may
I
be,
appreciate that.
my dear lady, it may be also be of benefit to know that we have disposed of those deplorable creatures who we had founded upon.
Wonderful. If you get him out of here as well, I think we may be under an agreement. Your barn friend likes to speak.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I say, we'll be leaving, but I say, before we go, is there any way that we could perhaps purchase the armor back from you?
Do you wish to barter for what is rightfully my treasure?
We would like to potentially buy it from you, yes. If you would be willing to sell it.
Does he speak for you?
She does not.
Sorry.
It's there.
All you elves look alike to me. It's just I can't tell the males from the females.
What is rightfully yours is truly rightfully yours. And I have no problems with giving it.
Go ahead and roll me a diplomacy check.
Okay.
Just because
I grovel.
you do have to kind
Is
of
that charisma?
pick up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
a charisma thing.
Oh, okay.
And I will bow and begin to take my leave.
12.
That's good enough. It wasn't a hard one. She nods and she says, "Leave the armor here, and I will favor you during the meeting. You have gone a long way to mend bridges that I thought were broken."
Thank you very much.
Quite a sacrifice.
I'll leave.
And I will go ahead and leave the armor. And I have my undergarments on. Well, just the top, right?
So you guys the other three of you are kind of standing outside after they walk in, and then they come back out, and Lunera is just in her undergarments.
I'm sweating bullets at this point. Like, oh crap, I have a pissed her off. And, she took the literal shirts off our backs.
What happened?
Well, I've got a purple robe if you like.
Yeah, that's probably not
the best idea.
I got the symbol to go with it if you like.
Well,
What's that, Thorak?
turns out. Oh, yeah.
I know I haven't. But I pick one for the team.
All right.
So it turns
What was
out.
it like?
Turns out the armor I had been wearing had been stolen from her originally, and I basically offered to give it back to her, as I had heard tell that she had trouble with thieves, and I didn't want to argue.
I don't understand why she wouldn't let us make an offer to purchase it back.
Just
Roll me a history check.
didn't feel it was right.
Where would be insight?
Would be pride.
10.
Insight would work too if you wanted. If you would prefer to do that.
Would she have read about it at all?
I think so. There it is.
No, because she just got.
I mean, if I had something stolen from me,
14.
and I came
14?
across it later, and someone was like, "I want to buy it," I'd be like, "Screw you, it's mine."
I know.
You know, like instant reaction.
Never,
like, "No."
you've never heard of any experiences or never heard of a dragon that ever wanted to part with any of its treasure, even if it was offered an equal value in trade or anything like that.
Well, you do have a ring of invisibility.
Yeah. Maybe I'll wait till.
We are gonna die.
No?
We are gonna die. 5 metallic dragons come at us, and
Sounds
I have
fitting.
plenty of currency to buy myself another piece of armor.
Did your armor have
Magical enchantment?
Yeah,
Yeah,
full
yeah.
armor. There was like that white enameled stuff. It was like it was full plate plus 1 or 2.
We have a +1 bonus to AC while wearing this armor, but I have disadvantage on stealth rolls.
Yeah, that's
like
plate.
standard.
So it was +1 plate.
Oh, so there wasn't anything extra special about it. Yeah, you can find +1 armor pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just lying around the place. Plus 1 armor over there. Plus 1 armor over there.
So I'm gonna go find a vendor.
You won't be able to find anyone who can sell you armor in this town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
you probably have an outfit on you though if you want to go put on the ring.
Oh yeah, I have my common clothes.
Yeah.
So I'll just be wearing those then.
Well, hopefully we don't get attacked in here.
She still has the same AC -1.
Mm-mm.
No,
The plate gave her.
The plate is like 16 or 17 base armor.
Now she's just
Now she's like 14.
10 or 12 or whatever.
Armor class 19. No wait.
No, because you have to unequip your.
Yeah, you have to take off.
Which do I remove?
Just
Just go to your inventory and there's a red check mark next to it. And if you uncheck it, it will.
Thornock has a spare
What's up, Reese?
loincloth.
So now what is it?
You can.
Oh no, I
12.
removed it.
Reese has
I'm
something.
gonna take off my breastplate +1 and give it to Casey's character, whose name just
Lunara.
Lunera. It's okay.
Lunera.
Yeah, it probably won't. It probably
You
won't
now have a
fit.
breastplate +1.
Oh sweet.
It'll be fine.
Magic resize.
Magical resizing. Yeah, I like that.
Plate. So it's
Was
just
it,
Just
was
a
it
breastplate.
washed or is it still
It should be listed under breastplate.
Breastplate +1.
Was it
unwashed?
of what? Of chain? Was it chainmail? Was it?
It's a breastplate which is like half plate or like it's like a medium armor.
You just
Yeah.
smile in.
It's a medium armor, but you get a +1 to AC, so it's a 16 armor class.
Nice.
Okay.
He's got an extra loincloth. He wears a toga.
A toga.
Let's.
No, I'm naked right now, but I pull out the fuzzy rabbit tail loincloth from when it was snowy.
Okay.
Just because I think it looks nice.
Rabbit
I can pull
tail.
out the silk one.
Rabbit tail.
Let's see. There was the brass.
Which one's been?
You
Brass.
have.
We don't know anything about.
You don't know anything about the brass.
And then the silver.
Yeah, the silver and gold.
Brass?
monkey.
Yeah,
Let's go brass.
Monkey, monkey.
And just hope.
I'm staying out of this one.
So you all head to the chambers of Eleuthera, the brass dragon.
Is there any indication of a brass dragon's breath attacks? Like what their attunement or what their favor is for as a general knowledge?
Since they're brass.
Or would that
all
be
their
specialized
brass
knowledge?
attacks.
Roll me a history check. I don't think it'll be too difficult.
That is 10
Which would be a
plus
thunder
history,
attack,
15.
right? Does brass do nothing but thunder attack? Since it's like an instrument, they're all brass.
The brass.
Yeah.
Starts playing
It just-
Fly to the
It
Bumblebee.
just conjures a marching band to attack you. Oh, good. Brass right here.
Perfect.
Fire.
Fire. All right. I have I think. I'm gonna. If I have it, on our way there, I'm gonna pop a potion of fire resistance.
Okay.
Just because I'm scared. I don't have one, no. So, okay.
So who's heading in?
I will go in.
I'll go in as well.
Rom,
Not me.
I'll go in.
Do
Akio,
we know the name of the brass
My staff gives me
yes.
fire resistance. I'll be okay.
Eleuthera.
Eleuthera.
Eleuthera the illustrious. And thou.
So
What would a dragon's
Yeah,
title
I'm gonna
be?
stay out.
You're gonna stay out? Okay.
The
Thornock, staying out, going in.
It's like a
Breaker of
mystery,
chains.
right?
I'm gonna stay out
Eternal
because it
flame.
seems all dragons hate half-orcs,
Okay.
especially orky looking half-orc.
Very orky looking.
So you two then, you three,
Yeah.
enter through this kind of the shimmer of the illusion, and you enter into it looks like a kind of another personal library, but it looks like a very a sort of like a magical study. In the middle of the room, there is this large orrery that has a bunch of different orbs floating around, and they all kind of appear to be showing different realms, different planes of existence. So you see one passing by that looks like the astral sea, this kind of shimmering sea of stars. You see one that is just kind of this oily, swirling blackness that can only be the abyss. And you see that in the middle is the prime material plane, and there's like a little strip that shows like the underdark underneath, and it's just kind of this miasma of planetary
Boo.
yeah, boo. Thank you.
Boo.
And Eleuthera is standing in the middle, just kind of casually observing something. His tail is swishing a little bit, and when you enter, he turns and he goes, "Ah, guests. You are the ambassadors, correct?"
That is correct.
Yes. Member of the sock monkey.
What was his name again?
Eleuthera.
Eleuthera. Okay. Just
You are the ones who have been hunting the cult of the dragon thus far?
Yes.
Wonderful.
It has been our honor.
We come to you to seek your aid against them. Future endeavors.
Yes, I believe we are having a vote about that tomorrow. And he kind of looks off into the distance a little bit, and he looks back and he says, adventurers. No, ambassadors. Sorry. I am everywhere these days.
A little of both, actually.
How much do you know about my proclivities?
Very little.
Very little, but it looks like you've got an awesome setup in here.
Thank you very much. I am one of those who enjoys wandering the plains, searching for unique items and making sure that they are in the correct hands.
Nice.
I know that you as adventurers have a few items that you have searched for as well.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the dragon masks?
Yes.
Indeed. Really?
We looked for the white dragon mask. And we couldn't find it.
Wonderful. Well,
Evaded us.
Because there was black dragon.
I would be more than willing to throw my
Yeah.
hat in the ring, as they say, with you. If at the end of this endeavor, the dragon masks were given to me to be stored away.
Is it wise to keep them all in one place?
If it's under the protection of dragons, yes. But I would not deign to keep them all together.
I think that is a fair offer. We
Very
don't have
acceptable.
a use for them.
Would it be?
I'm speaking on behalf of the
Would it be
council.
too
so
averse,
bad.
as long as to put a condition upon that, as long as the other dragons were not the metallic dragons did not have a problem with it. We would not want to cause strife between you.
Oh, of course. No, that would be absolutely fine. Though I doubt any of my companions really worry about such minor things in their minds.
What, don't mind me asking, what do you plan on doing with the dragon mask?
Storing them, removing them from evil hands. I'm not so much a user of items as I am a collector.
And you have quite the collection.
Thank you. I'm particularly fond of that chronosphere over there.
I go over to the chronosphere to take a look.
And it is the most immaculate version of a chronosphere that you've ever seen, besides in like books.
I praise it basically.
Yeah.
I say the craftsmanship on this is pure perfection.
I found it in Mechanus, actually. Plane of Order. Yeah, Mechanus. You've heard of it. It's basically like the Plane of Order. It's where all of like, not like the lawful good place, but it is very much like everything has its place, and the denizens there are a little weird.
Is it anything like
Plane of OCD?
Yeah.
In the castle there, and there was that observatory, that magic item.
The Illisk of I know what you're talking about.
I just want to be like, and I don't know if it's if it continues to please you, but we stumbled across in one of our travels in this this, what would you call it, this castle. An item that might be of interest to you. I don't know. You probably are.
Is that our castle that we own?
The swamp castle.
The swamp castle. Is
Just
that where
the
it's at?
scrying. It's
Castle,
basically the scrying.
Yeah.
It let us see into the swamp and see
Yeah.
that black dragon.
Yeah.
And I see that you have sight far beyond sight, but
The Farseer of Illisk is what it's
Yeah.
called.
the Farseer of Illisk, we've uncovered that was seemed to have been lost.
Really
Indeed.
interesting.
And if you'd like, whether you'd like to study it or
What location was that in again?
that was in the bogs. It was the mire. No, it was the Dead Man's Mire.
It was the.
I have my
Mare of
ring
Deadman,
that
yeah.
I can touch to paper,
Yes.
and it'll show us where we've all been. I'm going to
Okay.
use that. Where did it say we've been?
And he leans in like over your head, and it's like it's very much a giant dragon that is like leaning in close.
It was right
And
here, and we
observing-
used it to peep in on a few of the chromatic dragons before we.
I believe
the
there
jump
is
on
a
him.
black dragon that makes his home there.
Indeed, and I would not like it to fall into his hand.
I will take that into advisement. Thank you. Now, if there's nothing else, I am unfortunately very busy. I have to engage in another activity before the council tomorrow.
Yep.
Thank you all for coming. And he stops and he picks up your boulette and like looks at it for a few seconds, and its legs are like kicking as he flips it upside down. And then he sets it down and just nods, and then goes back to looking at the orrery as it kind of swirls around. And he basically just, he doesn't dismiss you, he doesn't say goodbye, he just stops paying attention to you.
We just go ahead and leave.
We just leave.
Fine.
Okay.
That went pretty well. We relay the conversation.
Okay.
The rest of the team.
Yeah. We're going to give up those dragon masks.
Glad I didn't use a potion.
Those I really powerful.
We could still use them before giving them back.
I don't know if we want to incur the wrath of one of the leaders of the metallic dragon.
They said they wanted them when everything was said and done.
He also mentioned that he wanted him out of
immediately.
evildoer's hands. So as long as you're not an evildoer, it's within the.
It's within the contract.
Maybe we'll go our separate ways at that point.
I'm just walking away from this conversation. No.
Heading towards silver or gold.
I like
No.
technicalities.
I was crossing my fingers.
So you move to the chambers of Otari Liakarnos.
Atari Diakarnos.
And the kobolds just kind of usher you in. She obviously knows that you're all in a party. She's not like, I don't want to meet with the half-orc, kind of thing.
This is the one that we rode in on, right?
Yes, correct.
Oh, yeah.
I
You
bow,
and the dragon that you rode it on.
I bow deeply and I say, my lady, Otari Liakarnos.
How are you finding the accommodations, travelers?
Wonderful, thank you. We've been spending, some of us have been spending some time studying in your amazing library. I heard that you had a cousin who was killed recently.
Not recently, but yes, I did.
We extend our deepest condolences. I'm so sorry.
And she kind of huffs a little bit, and kind of this, that kind of dragon smoke comes out of her nostrils, and she says, the dwarves still wear her hide.
As armor?
Mm-hmm.
It is deplorable.
We've recently
Look
given
over
up
there.
our own armor.
It wasn't dragon
I say,
armor.
no,
She was wearing.
It wasn't. Oh, I thought
No.
it was white dragon armor.
it was enameled, I think.
Wait,
It
who
was
has white dragon armor?
Nobody.
I thought we took
No.
we didn't take.
No, the armor that she had was from a white dragon, like,
the person.
Like
That's what I was
a
thinking.
rare.
enjoys.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. I say, well, we've been visiting some of your fellow dragonflight leaders and trying to gauge whether or not they might offer their support to the defense of humanoid kind against the chromatic dragons. Is there any way that we could persuade you to support our cause?
If you can wring a promise from the dwarves to return that armor to me, as well as a formal apology for their actions, I would be more than happy to not cause a stir in the council meeting. Unfortunately, I will not be able to give you my full support until I get that promise, but I will not cause any sort of interruptions to the proceedings.
I say we will do our very best to persuade him.
Is it a specific
What was his name?
dwarven clan?
Yes,
I don't know.
it
Is the council member guy?
It is actually the same clan of dwarves that are representing at the council, which is
Okay.
Here's your papers.
Reese, where are the dwarves from in the Drist books?
Mithril Hall?
Mithril Hall. No.
I don't remember. Hold on.
Yeah, it's Mithril Hall. Yep.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
So the dwarves of Mithril Hall are the ones that.
Did we, when we were in that meeting, did we see the description of this armor?
Yeah, he was at the table. Well,
No,
it
actually,
wasn't
the gentleman Braun Anvil at the table was the ambassador.
He's just the ambassador. He
He's
wasn't the one that
not.
was wearing
He's not
it.
like the king.
Okay.
He's not the dwarf lord who wears this silver dragon plate. Basically.
Silver dragon plate.
And she nods. She says that will be acceptable as far as everything goes.
Thank you. The only one we have yet to visit is the great leader of the Gold Dragon Flight.
Protanther?
Protanther. Do you have any advice for us as to how we might win him to our cause?
Take very good care to win him to your cause. We might have to make multiple concessions to him. Make him believe that he is very much in charge of the conversation.
Thank you. Do our best.
I think we can do that.
Okay.
Go Sam.
So the party heads out. They head up, again, these winding staircases. Even though it doesn't appear that any one dragon is higher
It's
than
like
the
MC
others.
Escher style, or like walking
Underneath, all sorts of stuff.
Labyrinth.
It does appear that you guys go up far more to go to Protanther's area.
Okay.
And his area is kind of this large shrine to Bahamut. And there in all of his enormous golden majesty is probably one of the biggest dragons that you've ever seen. Actually, probably at this point the biggest dragon you've ever seen. He was a dragon lord. He's an ancient dragon. He's everything that every other dragon aspires to be. And hi, buddy. Sorry, touching dog butt with my foot.
Dog butt.
And you come in, and he looks already ready to receive you. Like he's perfectly formal and everything. And he eyes over each of you, mostly with disdain. He doesn't appear to have any sort of issue with Brom, particularly, or Thornock probably. He's still half human, so the rest of you, he kind of looks a little bit displeased to be seeing here.
I don't make eye contact.
And he says, "Come in."
So I walk in and I bow deeply and I just say, Protanther, thank you for allowing us in your presence. I say, although I am but the humblest of wood elves, I apologize on behalf of my kin for our pride and error in shaping the magic of the Drakerage mythal. Is there anything that we could do to attempt to begin to make reparations for that great grave?
The thank you of one elf is surprising and welcome, but it would require a apology from a much grander elf than you in order to sway me towards any sort of recompense.
Did you have any particular individual in mind?
And he gives you kind of a devilish smile as if he's like trapped you in a corner. And he says, I believe there is an elven king among the Council of Waterdeep.
Indeed.
His apology would go a long way.
I promise that we will do our very best to obtain that apology. He is a proud creature, as you undoubtedly know.
All elves usually are. Beyond that, I am wary to send any of the metallic dragons into battle without any sort of benefit to us. You mortal races tend to come and go, and we don't really need to concern ourselves with you more often than not. So we are more than happy to assist if we are to be aided.
If we were willing to share a portion of any spoils we might obtain by defeating the cult of the dragon, would that be sufficient?
And how would you share that with metallic dragons?
What would you suggest?
I think a fair portion for each of our flights.
5 portions, then.
Correct.
I think we can speak on behalf of the council and say that that's acceptable.
Wonderful. Well then, I think we have a deal.
You are both wise as you are awesome.
Everybody's like just really quickly getting out of there. He stays completely regal and he says, I will see you tomorrow morning at the council.
Yes. Thank you very much for your time.
I wanted to say so bad, just like
But you didn't.
I didn't. Yeah. Like, come on, man. The dragon's gonna be your problem too. So like, whether it kills us or not, you're gonna have to face it eventually. So don't be so, you know. But that wouldn't went over well.
Thank you for guarding your.
So, the evening passes. Everybody can take a long rest if you have one, or if you need one. The next day, the council meets, and you guys kind of get set into this alcove as the 5 gigantic dragons set upon their perch. They discuss things. Thanks in no small part to your efforts, they all seem pretty amiable to the idea. The final vote is 4 dragons,
4 eyes,
4 eyes, and 1 abstaining. Yeah, Otari, whatever, Elia basically abstains, and actually Protanther does agree to help you.
Awesome.
And he says, "We will assemble our forces immediately and send representatives to the Council of Waterdeep.
Dang, Waterdeep's.
It will be completely up to you where to spread our forces, where we may be able to best help while we search for the Cult of the Dragon."
We appreciate all the assistance that we can gain. And we do ask, if possible, that we might be left to the negotiations between. We don't want to start any strife with any of the other parties, but we would be more than happy to act as mediator between.
Of course, we would ask for nothing more from the ambassadors who came to us. Well done, heroes.
Thank you.
You have done something that not many have accomplished, getting this council to mostly agree on something, and all 5 of the dragons.
Does that count as an agreement as well?
Actually, one of them's frowning.
Which is a lie, right?
Yep. So as they kind of are all dismissing and saying their goodbyes, like they have a few other matters that they need to attend to. Taz Michaela looks over and says, "Lunera, come here, please."
I approach.
I was swayed by you being so selfless, and I wish to impart on you a personal gift. I wish for you to be my personal champion in this endeavor. Snap.
I would be honored.
Wonderful. And she wraps her claws twice on her podium, and kind of the small illusion shimmers beneath her podium, and a couple kobolds bring out this gleaming copper dragon scale.
You have to repaint your figure.
And
she's got another one.
I've got another one.
And she says, "This is made from the scales of my prime consorts, the ones that they have shed, and it should provide you ample resistance should you need it."
I can't thank you enough. This is truly an honor.
I do request when this endeavor is over that you return the armor so that it can be added once again to my hoard, but I appreciate your willingness to agree to my terms.
You have my word.
So you can add a +2 armor of resistance. Actually, sorry, it's not a +2 armor of resistance. I think it might just be an armor of resistance.
Okay.
Rum was considering if he was going to spoil this to say talk, but he held through. Oh, yeah, that's really cool. The dragon's like.
Yeah, so it's not a +2, it's just an armor of resistance. And it is a acid resistance. So armor, or it's either full plate or it's a dragon scale, whichever one is better for you. Where are all my books? Books. Where are your books? Can I borrow your player's handbook?
Books.
All right, and then
So there's, let's see. Okay, so armor of acid resistance chainmail.
Tell you what.
Scale mail. Yeah, sorry. There's a lot.
For dragon scale armor.
plate is the highest AC.
Okay.
So so you'll want a plate armor of resistance or armor of resistance plate.
So
Acid resistance.
it says armor of acid resistance plate.
Yep. So your AC will go down by 1 because I believe you had +1 armor previously.
I think so, yeah.
But you will have armor of resistance. You'll have acid resistance now. So. And that does require attunement.
Oh.
I think you may have an attunement spot open. That your other armor is gone. Alrighty. So after that, the kobolds lead you to a portal area, and they say, we can pretty much send you wherever you need to go. Is there a specific area you had in mind?
Misty Forest.
The 5th layer of hell. I want to go kill someone.
That guy.
Just kidding.
Well,
Wait, never mind.
They're like starting to cast. Like, are you sure?
what I say, when were the dragonflights going to send their representatives to the?
They should be on their way now.
Maybe we should go to Waterdeep first.
Oh, and I'll go ahead and give Thornock the breastplate back. Thank you for providing this for me.
No problem. I figured you felt weird being naked.
No, not at all.
I think
She was the one swimming nude in the river, right?
I think we should probably be in Waterdeep when the ambassadors from
Right.
the dragonflights
It's
are
gonna be kind
Question.
of crazy.
Now, do we recall when we were doing inner dealings with Blagothicus, was it chromatic dragons that they had issues with?
It was
fighting?
or
dragons in general.
It was dragons in general, but chromatic were usually the
Okay.
issues. Yeah.
So we might have strife between those two parties if they ever meet.
But Bagoth.
Blagothicus.
Yep.
But
He's already
Cloud
said
Castle.
he would.
Whatever.
He would provide aid to
Oh,
make sure
yeah.
Tiamat didn't rise.
It'll be a glorious battle.
Okay.
Probably will be.
Yeah, I'd suggest we head back to Waterdeep. Why did we need to go?
Of course, we were going to go and do some reconnaissance.
Because the guy was
Find
saying
out why
that
they-
he wasn't being attacked by the cult.
Oh yeah.
So we were gonna go there and be like, "Oh, you
That's right.
actually are getting attacked, and we will help you as long as you apologize to that dragon."
There you go.
So the kobolds wave their hands and they cast, like, these are actual full-on casting magic kobold wizards, and they open up a portal to Waterdeep for you.
So cool.
And they bow deeply as you head through, and you end up back in the bustling city. You're not actually sent to the usual portal locations. They just basically send you to a side street that nobody's in.
We need to figure out how what that spell is. That was pretty cool.
Let's head to the council and see if we can find Leosin or.
Yeah.
What time of day is it?
It's about noon.
Okay.
Find
The council was early in the morning, so
Yeah.
I'll be listening
Find
for
Antarfrum.
gossip on the way.
Where would
go and roll
Antarfrum
me
be?
gathering intel check. Intellect.
Intel would be investigation.
Investigation, yeah.
So that's 17.
17. You hear a few tidbits. There's actually talk about how one of the nobles was recently killed. Yeah. Apparently committed suicide after killing one of his guards. Yeah.
Go like a side quest.
I feel a side quest going on.
Perfect.
And you guys are able to find Leosin pretty quickly.
Okay.
He's not exactly hidden. He's kind of told you where he was and everything. And he goes, "You're back already."
Short trip.
It was a great success. All
Really?
the dragonflights have agreed to send aid, and they have ambassadors on their way now.
Wonderful. Let me go ahead and take you to what was her name? I'm trying to think Silverhell because that's who we were talking to.
Started with an S.
It was
Sylvian.
Silverhand. Lady Silverhand. The open Lord of Waterdeep. And he leads you there, and
On the way, I ask him. I say, "She was new last time. What happened to?"
the open Lord of Waterdeep changes every now and then, just kind of a diplomatic thing depending on who's in favor.
So there wasn't any kind of coup or anything.
No, I mean, Lord Neverember is still on the council, and they're still amicable towards each other. It's just a shifting of power. It happens all the time in Waterdeep. The Masked Lords all vie for power to become the Open Lord, as it were. So they lead you back to the Council City Hall, and by the time you get there, Lady Silverhand is waiting for you. And she says, I hear that we had great success.
Indeed. The dragon fights have all agreed to send aid. But
tell me what was promised. I know. The bad part is coming.
Well,
and she has a scribe pull out a scroll and get ready to take some notes.
or Scuto, or whatever his
we
name
have
is.
promised the return of any chromatic dragon masks that we find to the bronze dragon leader. Brass dragon leader, thank you.
That's acceptable. Doesn't seem too much of an issue.
We have promised to do our best to procure an apology from the dwarven leader.
The Braun
and
Anvil.
the elven leader.
No, not Braun Anvil, but the
for
Mithril Hall.
killing the silver dragon's cousin many years ago, and for wearing her scales as armor. So she wants both an apology and the scales returned.
That is going to be a hard sell, but I think we might be able to convince him of that.
The leader of the Gold Dragons,
Protanther.
Pretentious.
wants two things. First, an apology from the King of the Wood Elves for the elves meddling.
Was his name Melindrak, or was that the ambassador?
Melindrak was the king, the elven king.
Okay.
From King Melindrak for the meddling of the elves in ancient time.
She gets a small smirk on her face, and then she goes, he's not going to like that.
Of course not. I'm an elf, I know. But also, one equal share of the treasure that we may find upon feeding the cult for each of the 5 dragonflies.
They each get their own share.
As each representative in this council does as well, yes.
Okay. That is.
It's either that or the world gets destroyed.
I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a hard sell for these groups, but
I mean, I guess if they.
I'll tell them
So they
if
wanna
they would
try and
like to
fight
go into
Tim out alone?
negotiations and tell them that they get one share for all 5. I will be more than happy to allow them to do those negotiations in person.
I will let them do that as well. I think all of these are acceptable. We knew that the price was going to be hefty, but we didn't. I'm sure that King Melindrak particularly is not going to enjoy his little bit of dirt kissing.
Perhaps we'll find a way to try and help.
I'll handle the rest of that with the council. Not to worry. I think for you, I think we've got what we need. Thank you. And I do have word that the ambassadors are here, but they want to make sure that they speak with you on where best to put their forces.
Okay.
There was something about using you as intermediaries that...
Indeed. Have them forward all communications to P.O. Box, Highwood Mansion.
No, they're
Wonderful.
here.
Not that anyone's
I
there.
say, do you know where Master Froome might be located?
Master Froome and the Order of the Gauntlet are located out of... Oh, you're going to make me pull out the other book.
We could just try and find him.
And there we
if
are.
He's here.
Well, he's here. El Turiel is where the Order of the Gauntlet is.
On third
But I can get him for you.
Would you mind?
Yes. So she leaves. The representatives of the dragon fights come in. They're just kind of all in human form, but you can still tell that they're very much wrinkled dragons.
These aren't the same. These are not the leaders of the dragons. These are like
these are like
underlings.
these are like just other adult dragons in
Okay.
human guise or elven guise.
Which one was the one that was Harper?
Harper,
That was
Leosin.
Except for the
No,
gold.
on the. Well, I guess the Leosin was there as well.
Delia.
I can just talk to
yeah,
Leosin.
you're right.
Tarum.
I'm gonna see if they could pass a message on for me.
Where's the
message for you, sir. Because I have the names all written down. I don't have written down who is the Harper lady.
Hang on. Ramalia Haventree is her name. Yeah. So Onthar comes in and he says, I see a lot of new faces in here.
I give him a full report. Obviously, we can handle that. And then he looks at the dragons and they each give their report. Basically, there is enough dragons to kind of spread out over 5 different areas. Okay.
Because 1 for each dragon flight. So it's entirely up to you guys on the council on where you think extra forces are needed to fight back these dragon raids and these dragon cultist raids. Because dragons have been way up in arms lately, and they've been raiding villages a lot more, or these different kingdoms. And basically, the idea is that the kingdoms that they know about are, of course, the kingdoms within the council that are all working towards. So it's up to you to decide where you want to put those forces.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The white dragon we killed was not one of the major traumatic dragons. It was a minor.
It was a small,
it was
a minor one.
So there's still one at large, and we know where a black dragon is.
Was that you?
We know where a black dragon is.
Your dog.
In theory,
Burping.
we might be able to keep an eye on him.
I ask Onthar Throom, I say, what would your recommendation be for where these forces are deployed?
I mean, everywhere is being equally attacked. You might be able to spare some forces to kind of go searching for where the dragons are sending everything. But I kind of feel it might be best to put them where you guys think
dwarves.
The council members
may
may
be.
We should put him there to make the dwarf apologize, and then he can get aid. And return the armor.
And the silver.
The specific dragons that are part of that. I was going to say the same
you
thing.
want to send the silvers to Mithril Hall.
Yes.
With some of the,
with a caveat that he must apologize.
We
and
should
return the
probably
armor.
send. If we're gonna send one of them, that might cause a problem. If you have like one of the bronze, what is the bronze? It was the guys that were like really level-headed.
He was like our most hero.
Whoever his was, you might want to pair him with one of the rabble rousers, because
I say, can we have a moment to confer amongst ourselves?
Sure.
I want to step aside, kind of out of earshot or whatever.
Okay. Do you want the different council cards, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can take a look.
Yes, please. So we can remember which ones we don't like.
So here they all are. Basically, I'll let you know kind of metagame knowledge here. This is going to improve relations with whoever you send patrols to protect, or whatever you send their missions out on.
Sure.
And there's a lot of behind the scenes on different actions that you guys have taken are increasing or decreasing your reputation with these individual factions, and kind of either securing or unsecuring your relationship with them as far as their aid goes. So sending some to specific areas where you know you may need some additional bump up might be helpful.
I'd probably say at least one of the elves, because we're going to be heading there, and we probably want an extra.
Well, so here's what I'm thinking. I think before we decide where the forces are going to be deployed, we ought to speak with Ambassador Braun Anvil and tell him that we're prepared to secure the protection of one of the dragon flights if he's willing to apologize and return the armor.
I agree.
And we'll have the silver dragon flight be there protecting him as a show of, good faith and
Mending things.
yes, and goodwill. But I also think perhaps before we even speak to King Melindrak, we ought to investigate, if we can, before us, so that we can have something to say. We know that there's a problem here, and we're willing to send aid if.
Right. Because it might damage our relationship with everybody else to send to him.
Fair point.
Yeah. The problem is, I don't know if we have time to go to the forest. Do you know what I mean? Like, I guess maybe I return to the ambassadors and say, once deployed, are the forces essentially irretrievable? Can we request that they be moved?
I mean, it's very difficult to move a dragonflight and have them all gather up. It would take time.
Would it be possible to, for example, send 4 on active engagement and hold 1 in reserve?
Sure.
Could that reserve group perhaps do some reconnaissance work to try and discover what they can about where the cultists are trying to assemble and take?
I mean, that's not really holding them in reserve, but
true.
They could do reconnaissance work.
Well, maybe we send 3, have 1 on reconnaissance, and
keep
hold 1
one
in reserve.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
So Silver's to Mithril Hall.
Well, before we ask the
I'm going to go ahead. We're going to hand wave this a little bit just to say that any promises that you made, the council may not like, but they will uphold.
Okay. Even King Melindrak will
even King Melindrak
uphold his
an
apology.
He's definitely not happy about it. If you if you confront him or if you see him after the Open Lord has talked with him, he's definitely very scowly about it and upset. But he understands that sometimes he has to lick boot.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, then let's send 1.
Let's send to him.
Let's send the gold
to him.
Yeah. And the silver to Mithril Hall.
Force them to be friends.
Yeah.
You're gonna hold hands until you're sorry.
Okay. So Silver's to Mithril Hall.
Better way to do that whenever it's pissed off
maybe
and dying.
Is there a dragonflight that's perhaps more suited to reconnaissance? That's maybe swifter or keener eyed or?
Not really. They're all kind of on the same kind of level.
Sure.
Usually the only thing different about dragons is their breath and resistance types.
Well, why don't we just send the brass to do reconnaissance and see if they can discover where the cult is assembling.
Okay, that's essentially sending them with the Harpers or the Zentirum, basically as an additional helping hand. Which
I would say Harpers.
Or actually, or Emerald Enclave, whichever one you prefer.
Ooh. But we're already really strong with them, though.
I know, but
one or the other.
But the point is that we want to find where the cult of the dragon is taking the treasure and planning on summoning Tiamat.
Right.
I feel like the Harpers usually want to be less in the limelight, and that might put them in the limelight.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of are
But
with the Harpers. You're right, though, and we're in with the Emerald Enclave, so maybe we do the
Zentarum. How much?
Just to gain favor.
How much public knowledge is there of the Zentarum?
It's
player knowledge. I know things, but
I don't even know.
Yeah, they're a very secretive organization. Like their portion in the alliance is very hush hush.
Okay.
You met the first council. You met the leader of the Zentarum. She showed up and she talked a little bit, but she's obviously not very big on pomp and circumstance for that.
Okay.
So she wasn't at the second council, and there isn't any inclination that they're a big part. They're just kind of like, this is another spy network like the Harpers, but they're a little rougher.
Who's the representative of that group?
The Zentarum?
Yeah.
It is Rian Nightshade, her name. She's not on
There's
it.
an
So we have a spy network in our hands.
Got it. Okay, so that leaves us with 2 dragonflights.
Bronze and copper.
Bronze and copper 1 for Coromir. So there's Coromir, there's Silvery Moon, there's...
And again, all of these places have been under attack from
Oh,
dragons.
the Harpers.
Bad
There's
dragons, not good.
Flaming Fist Warrior. Ravenguard.
So those are what they're promising.
Okay.
I think it is Ravenguard specifically.
Ravenguard, Waterdeep.
Silverhand
and Neverwinter.
What's her face?
Silverhand, I think, is kind of... She likes us. Okay, I mean, so basically...
I'm partial to sending someone to Neverwinter because that's basically where we're from.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Flaming Fist is the military might of Baldur's Gate.
We gotta send them there.
Let's do Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter.
Bronze to Baldur's Gate.
Sounds good.
And to Neverwinter.
Yes.
Sorry, everybody else, you're on your own.
Well, they have their
own forces and whatever.
Please.
They're just not getting immediate help.
Don't hate me.
This was strategic.
Yes. So that is actually where we're going to end tonight, because it is 11, so that's perfect. Congratulations, guys. That was a very, went a lot easier than I thought it would. You guys did very well.
I'll take
dealing
my
with
daggers
dragons.
back, whoever had them.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
A total of 1,500 experience all around.
Nice.
And a very special inspiration to Tavish, 1,500. Tavish gets inspiration for really welly dealing with the brass dragon. And then you get inspiration for the copper dragon.
I actually did set and
so you all did well in your role plays today, but I thought that your selflessness in giving up your armor and your like very like intimate knowledge back and forth with the brass was really good. So congratulations.
753.87.
Okay.
1,500. Cool. That is the end of what I personally called the Phantom Menace portion of D&D. It's basically 2 council sessions right in a row, trade agreements, all that jazz. So next time
fight stuff.
They came with the ventilation.
Next time, hopefully, we'll get to the Misty Forest and maybe encounter something a little bit more combat heavy. Yeah. I know that's a little bit harder for those of you who are more combat oriented, like Thornock and Lunera are very, very much combat people. Yeah. Sorry, Reese, you came back and didn't really do much. I apologize. But next time we should have a little bit more fun. Who knows?
More battle.
Who knows? You guys might just hang out at the end. You know, it's fine.
Indeed. And welcome to all. We've got a couple of new followers. Thank you. Welcome. And as a reminder, we're doing Extra Life still. $35 is how much has been recorded on the books of the $1,000 goal. I have yet to. I just still need to reach out to people at work.
Our big
contributors.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. We'll get those in.
They're getting free sponsorship tonight.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's pretty much it.
Alrighty. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful